Anna is a single mother who is 8 months pregnant. One day, she hears on the news that there has been a mass suicide incident in Russia. Her city has closed all means of transportation, but she and her sister don't pay attention. They continue to drive out, but right on the street, something has gone wrong in the city. Countless cars crash into each other, and people run around in panic. The mobile phone rings. Anna turns around to get the phone from the back, but her sister suddenly cries out in horror. Then she stops talking, and her whole expression changes. She starts to step on the gas pedal hard. The speed of the car gets faster and faster. Anna tries to grab the steering wheel from her, but still can't stop her from crashing into other cars. Anna crawls out and watches helplessly as her sister walks into the middle of the road. The whole city has gone crazy. Anna can only start running with the people and suddenly falls down. There is a kind woman in the distance who runs towards her. She originally wants to help her up, but suddenly sees something. Then she goes insane, muttering mom, and gets into a car that is on fire. A black man helps Anna up and they finally run into a house. Everyone quickly figures out the situation. There is some kind of mysterious monster wandering outside. Whoever sees it will go crazy and commit suicide. They immediately close the windows and draw the curtains. They turn on the TV. The news says that the president has declared a state of emergency and that no one should go out absolutely. Then the live broadcast cuts off. The next day, this group of strangers start to get to know each other. Suddenly, they hear a knock on the door. The black man goes to open the door, but the bald man behind him shouts not to open it. A group of people come to the door. There is a woman's voice outside. The black man says he wants to open the door, and the bald man can't stop him. At this time, Anna picks up a gun and says it's okay to open the door. Everyone either covers their eyes or closes them. Then the black man says it's all right. They open their eyes and it's a fat girl wearing an eye patch. She is also pregnant. At this time, the owner of the house has an idea. He has installed a lot of surveillance cameras near the house. He wants to observe the outside situation through these images. Others try to persuade him not to try randomly, but he still decides to do an experiment. He asks the policeman beside him to tie adhesive tape on his hands to prevent him from hurting himself. He turns on the computer screen and starts to watch the surveillance videos. Downstairs, everyone is waiting for the situation upstairs. The owner of the house starts to get a bit bored while staring at the screen, but suddenly a fallen leaf is lifted up, and his expression changes. The people downstairs start to hear the crashing sounds from upstairs. They rush in.
Look away!
A group of people cover their eyes. The bald man smashes the screen, but when they open their eyes, they only see the owner of the house with eyes that won't close. A few days later, all their food is gone. Everyone has to go out to find food. The fat black man says that there's food in the supermarket where he works. Some people say they want to go, and some say they don't want to go. But in the end, 5 people volunteer to go. They come up with an idea: drive. They go to the garage and paint the windows all over and stick newspapers on them so that they can't see the outside. The black man sets the navigation to the supermarket and then opens the garage door and starts off. I've never seen anyone drive like this before. The car windows are painted all over and covered with newspapers. They use the navigation to locate the destination and the car's anti-collision system to determine where there are obstacles. They drive carefully. Suddenly, the anti-collision system senses an obstacle and emits an alarm. At this time, the alarm already indicates that there are things all around the car. The car shakes, and people become more and more panicked. The black man quickly drives away at high speed and finally gets out of danger. They finally reach the destination, the supermarket. A group of people put on blindfolds, get out of the car, look for the door, and enter the supermarket. Everyone takes off their blindfolds and feels happy for a rare moment. There's food. They start to collect food. Anna finds a cage of little birds. It's really not easy for these little birds to survive for so long in the doomsday. Suddenly, they hear a knock on the door. Someone outside is crying for help, and the voice is full of despair. The black man decides to open the door. A group of people close their eyes, but as the door gradually opens, then that person suddenly crashes into the door. They know the monster is here. At the last moment, the fat black man decides to rush forward and bumps that person out. Then they only hear the person outside asking the fat black man to look. There is the sound of a knife stabbing, and naturally, the fat black man stops making a sound. They quickly leave, but before they leave, they hear another knock on the door. A group of people drive back home, bringing back a lot of food, but they also lose a companion. Everyone is very sad, but in a few days, that couple secretly drives away. They can never go out again. In the face of the end of the world, there is no trust left between people. Fortunately, there is still food. A few more days pass. Anna suddenly hears someone talking at the door. It's that fat woman. She somehow lets a man in. The remaining people in the house rush over and are very angry with the fat woman. You can't just let someone in casually. At this time, the bald man suddenly snatches the gun and tells the man to get out. But then the old lady comes and knocks the bald man unconscious with a vase. They lock the bald man in the garage. After a while, the group of people live in peace. On this day, the 2 pregnant women suddenly give birth at the same time. They all go upstairs and lie on the bed. The old lady and the black man are by their sides. And at this time, the man downstairs takes out his paintings. Each one is of a black, shadowy monster. He puts the birds in the freezer. The bald man in the garage looks at him and knows it's all over. The man tears off the paper seals on the windows and looks outside hungrily. The black man goes downstairs and sees the birds in the freezer. As soon as he takes the birds out, he is knocked unconscious by the man. At this time, the two babies upstairs are born. The man takes a look and then tears off the paper seals on the windows. Anna quickly covers her eyes, but the fat woman sees outside. Her expression changes immediately. Anna quickly takes the baby from her arms. The fat woman suddenly crashes out. The old lady picks up the scissors and runs over, but she is also caught by the man. He opens her eyelids and the old lady is gone too. At this time, the man comes for Anna. Fortunately, the bald man runs up with a gun, but he doesn't dare to open his eyes. Soon he is bumped down by the man. The man kills the bald man. At this time, the black man wakes up, and the two start to fight for the gun, just when Anna is in despair. Someone comes. It's the black man. She is saved. 5 years later, the two children have grown up. Anna puts blindfolds on them every day, trains them to live by relying on their sense of hearing. When there is no food at home, Anna will go out alone with a blindfold to look for food, but most of the time she can't find any. Late at night on the day she gets home, the man's telephone suddenly rings. On the other end of the line is a person who says they have a shelter. The man immediately writes down the location. Anna doesn't want to go at all. She is afraid that the other party is that group of heretics, but the man believes that the other party is a good person. The two have a big argument about this. On this day, the two take the two children to continue scavenging outside 3. After breaking into an empty house, the sound of a car comes again. The man says, "I'll lead them away," and then asks Anna to take the two children and run first. There are so many people outside who are not wearing blindfolds. It's that group of crazy people. They ask the man to take off his blindfold and even stretch out a hook. But when they find the man's lover and children, he launches an attack. The man is shot and falls to the ground. There are still 3 people on the other side. The man knows it's hopeless, so he decides to sacrifice himself and takes off his blindfold. He knocks down 2 people. Just when he goes to find the 3rd person, he sees it. His expression changes immediately, and his face becomes ferocious. The man clings to his last bit of reason and points the gun at the last enemy. Anna, who gets home, weeps silently. She decides to go to the shelter according to the man's last wish. Anna puts the children on the boat and sets off. She can always hear the voice of that monster calling her. She knows it's following them all the way. 14 hours later, she suddenly hears a man's voice asking them to take off their blindfolds. The man speaks and approaches them. Anna asks the children to lie down and picks up the gun. Listening with her ears to the direction of the approaching person, she fires several shots, but doesn't hit the enemy. Soon, the enemy catches her and the two start to fight. Anna can't see, and the gun is quickly taken away from her, and the woman struggles and pulls out the enemy's machete. She escapes another danger, but in a downstream rapid, the boat capsizes. Anna drifts around in the water, calling out for the children. She soon hears the voice of her son and swims over to find him. On the other side, she also hears the sound of her daughter shaking the bell. Anna finds her daughter and helps her put on the blindfold properly. Then they start to walk. She is mentally tense and accidentally falls down. When Anna wakes up, both children are gone. She walks and shouts, but what the children hear is also her voice. So the voice of the mother and the voice of the monster start to compete. With great difficulty, she finds her son, but her daughter hasn't appeared yet. At this time, the son suddenly says, "She's afraid of you. She's very afraid of you." Anna understands. She starts to apologize loudly. Anna keeps apologizing, and the little daughter finally approaches slowly and hugs her. The 3 of them run wildly all the way and follow the sound of the bird song to the door of the shelter. The 3 of them are finally admitted. The people inside check their eyes and confirm that they are normal people. Anna follows the leader here and takes off her blindfold. She sees that this is a blind school. There are so many people here. Green surrounds this place. The ceiling is covered with vegetation. Birds are flying around everywhere. And there is laughter, the long-lost laughter.